Welcome back to The Silent Truth, where real stories reveal the lessons life hides in silence. If you're new here, take a moment to subscribe and join our growing community because sometimes truth whispers louder than any shout. Today's story is one of heartbreak, betrayal, and quiet revenge. A mother who gave everything, only to be cast aside, until one small folder turned everything upside down. This is her story. Music fades slightly, sound of birds chirping in the background. Narrator: my name is Eleanor. I'm 64 years old, a retired librarian, and until recently I believed I had raised a kind, respectful son. His name is Mark. I lost my husband 10 years ago to cancer. For years after, it was just me and Mark. I devoted myself to him, his studies, his dreams, his life. I sold my jewelry to help pay for his college. I took on small part-time jobs, even when arthritis began making my hands ache every night. And when he married, I was overjoyed. I thought, finally, my boy has built his own home, his own happiness. Mark and his wife, Julia, invited me to move in with them after the wedding. They said it would be temporary. I didn't want to be a burden, but they insisted. Mark told me, "Mom, this house is as much yours as mine. You helped me get here." I believed him. For 3 years, I lived quietly in the small guest room downstairs. I cooked, cleaned, and took care of their daughter, my little granddaughter, Lily. She became the light of my life. Every morning, she would burst into my room shouting, "Grandma, pancakes," and I would laugh, no matter how tired I felt. But everything changed one evening, the evening that still echoes in my mind like a thunderclap. It started subtly. Julia began making small comments. "Eleanor, don't you think it's time you moved closer to your sister?" She'd say with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Or, "You've done enough. You should relax somewhere quiet, maybe a retirement home." I brushed it off. I thought she was just trying to be polite. Then, one night, I overheard them arguing in the kitchen. Julia's voice was sharp. "Your mother's always here, Mark. She's taking up space. My parents need help too, and they can't afford rent. We could let them have her room." Mark's reply cut through me. "We'll figure it out. She's old. She'll understand." I quietly backed away, my heart pounding. The next morning, Mark couldn't even look me in the eye. Julia avoided me completely. I pretended everything was normal, made breakfast, folded laundry, played with Lily, but deep down I knew. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was watering the flowers when Mark stormed out of the house, face red, fists clenched. He shouted, "Mom, we need to talk." I turned, startled. "What is it, sweetheart?" His voice broke not with sadness, but with anger. "Go away, Mom. My in-laws are moving in tomorrow. They need your room. You've been here long enough." I froze. The watering can slipped from my hands, splashing my shoes. "Mark, what are you saying?" He looked away. "You'll find somewhere else." Julia found a place, a small room near Maple Street. "It's cheap." He wouldn't meet my eyes. Julia appeared behind him, her arms crossed, smirking slightly. "It's best for everyone, Eleanor. You'll have your peace, and we'll have ours." Lily ran up to me and grabbed my skirt. "Grandma, are you going somewhere?" I swallowed hard, forcing a smile. "Just a little trip, darling." Mark barked, "Pack your things, Mom, today." I wanted to scream. I wanted to remind him of everything I had sacrificed, but I saw the coldness in his eyes, and I knew nothing I said would matter. So I packed slowly, quietly, with shaking hands, but as I zipped the last suitcase, I remembered something: the folder. It was an old, thick, brown folder hidden in the bottom drawer of my desk. Inside were the property documents, the very house deed Mark and Julia lived in. Because 10 years ago, when my husband died, we had bought that house together. We paid the first half, and when Mark got married, we added his name to the documents, but I kept the original ownership papers. The house was legally under my name. Mark's name was never finalized due to a missing signature from the lawyer's side, and that folder held every single proof. I tucked it under my arm, said goodbye to Lily, and walked out without a word. Mark didn't even come to the door. That night, I stayed in a small motel on the edge of town. I cried until dawn, not for losing a roof, but for losing my son. The next morning, I went to the local municipal office. My lawyer, Mr. Davis, an old friend, met me there. He'd handled my husband's estate years ago. When I showed him the folder, he looked stunned. "Eleanor, this deed is still in your name. Your son has no legal right to evict you." I felt numb. "Then let's make it right." He nodded. "If that's what you want, I'll file the notice immediately." By that evening, legal papers were already sent to Mark's address. He had 48 hours to vacate the premises. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was Mark. His voice was trembling. "Mom, what did you do?" I stayed silent for a moment. Then I said softly, "I just took back what was mine." He shouted, "You can't do this. We have nowhere to go. Julia's parents." I interrupted. "Mark, you kicked me out of my own home. You didn't even ask. You didn't care. You wanted to give my room away, so I'm giving you the freedom you wanted outside my house." He was quiet. Then the line went dead. 2 days later, I went back to the house. Julia was loading boxes into their car. She glared at me but said nothing. Mark stood by the porch, defeated. He looked older, exhausted, broken. "Mom," he whispered. "Where will we go?" I handed him an envelope. Inside was a check enough for a few months' rent. "Take it," I said. "Start over, but never forget kindness isn't weakness. I taught you better than this." He didn't respond. Julia snatched the envelope from his hand and stormed to the car. Lily ran up to me, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Grandma, are you coming with us?" I knelt down and hugged her tightly. "No, sweetheart, but you can visit me whenever you like." She clung to me, sobbing. "I love you, Grandma." I smiled, though my heart was shattering. "I love you too, my little sunshine." They drove away, leaving me standing alone by the garden, the same one I had planted years ago. Soft pause, sound of wind and birds faintly returns. Narrator, for the next few weeks, I tried to find peace. The silence of the house was heavy. Every corner reminded me of laughter, of family dinners, of Lily's giggles. But slowly, the emptiness became peace. I repainted the walls, changed the curtains, and filled the rooms with flowers again. It wasn't the same, but it was mine. A month later, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Mark. He wrote, "Mom, I'm sorry. I was blinded by Julia's pressure. I should never have spoken to you that way. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I miss you." Tears filled my eyes. I didn't reply right away. It took me weeks to find the right words. When I finally wrote back, I said, "Mark, love is patient, but it isn't blind. I forgive you, but forgiveness doesn't erase what happened. It's a lesson for both of us. Take care of your family and teach Lily what respect truly means." I never heard back, but months later, on Lily's birthday, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, there she was holding a small bouquet of daisies. Mark stood behind her, quietly watching. "Grandma," she said, "Daddy says we can visit you now." My heart softened. I invited them in. That day, Mark helped me fix the garden fence, just like old times. We didn't talk much, but the silence between us felt different, healing. Soft instrumental music plays. Narrator, sometimes it's not the loudest arguments that change lives, it's the quiet truths that follow. Eleanor didn't destroy her son's life out of revenge. She simply reminded him of a truth he had forgotten, that respect, once lost, costs more than any home. In just 48 hours, one folder turned power upside down, but it also gave space for reflection, humility, and a second chance. Life has a strange way of teaching us. Sometimes, we lose everything before we understand what really matters. Music swells slightly, emotional tone deepens. Narrator, if you're listening to this and you've ever been betrayed by someone you love, remember, silence can be stronger than anger. You don't always have to shout to be heard. Sometimes just walking away with dignity speaks louder than 1,000 words. Soft pause, piano notes fade into background. Narrator warmly, thank you for watching today's story on The Silent Truth. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, because every week we bring you true stories that remind us that even in silence, truth always finds its voice.